There comes a moment when you've carried the pain long enough. The anger, the shame, the regret. It's been heavy. Maybe someone hurt you. Maybe you made a mistake you can't stop replaying. Maybe life just didn't turn out the way you thought it would. And now you're stuck in a loop, going over the same story day after day. But what if today could be the day you let go of that story? What if today could be the start of something different? Not because everything gets fixed overnight, but because you finally decide to stop giving your past all your energy. This video isn't about pretending everything's fine. It's about facing the truth head on and realizing you have more control than you think. You're not weak for feeling stuck, but you don't have to stay there. If you've been holding on to something that keeps pulling you backward, this is your chance to stop letting it win. We're going to talk about how to break that cycle, step by step, real, practical ways to finally move forward, stronger, calmer, and clearer than ever before. Stick around, because by the end of this you might just feel a shift. Not because someone else changed, but because you did. Chapter 1. Take control of what you allow to continue. Most people are waiting for life to get better before they decide to get better. They wait for apologies, perfect timing, ideal conditions, or someone else to change first. But that moment rarely comes, because truthfully, life only changes when you do. And the most important change you can make is deciding to take control of what you allow to continue. That means looking at what you're tolerating, what you're justifying, and what you're avoiding, and then choosing to stop giving it permission to run your life. This is where everything starts to shift. You don't have to fix your entire life in one day. You just need to stop saying yes to what keeps breaking you. Think about the way you've allowed certain habits, people, situations, or thoughts to live rent-free in your life. How many things have stayed simply because you never told them to leave? How many relationships have continued not because they were healthy or right, but because it was easier than confronting the truth? How many routines do you keep repeating even though they're draining your energy, wasting your time, or feeding your frustration? That's the trap. When you don't take control, life doesn't stand still. It slowly takes control of you. Every time you stay silent about what hurts you, every time you ignore your needs just to keep the peace, every time you minimize your discomfort so others can feel comfortable, you're sending a message to the world that you're okay with being stuck. And that message becomes a pattern. That pattern becomes a life. So you have to be willing to interrupt that life. You have to be willing to do what you've been avoiding. Taking control doesn't mean flipping a switch. It means becoming aware of what you're tolerating and making one bold decision at a time. It means realizing you are not helpless. You are not stuck. You're not stuck. You're just used to allowing what doesn't serve you. And because you've allowed it for so long, it has taken up space that belongs to something better. You have to take that space back. Not with anger or resentment, but with clarity and calm intention. There are things in your life right now that keep happening because you let them. You might feel like a victim to them, but the truth is, you're not powerless. You just haven't stood up yet. You haven't looked it in the face and said, "No more." That's not a failure, that's a point of awakening. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. Start by noticing what continues to show up in your life that drains your peace. Maybe it's a person who constantly crosses your boundaries. Maybe it's a habit that keeps you exhausted. Maybe it's the way you talk to yourself when no one's listening. Now ask yourself, what do I gain by keeping this in my life? And what could I gain if I finally stopped allowing it? Taking control is not about perfection. It's about direction. It's about being honest with yourself when something is no longer right for you. Even if it once was, even if others don't understand, even if it's uncomfortable to admit, because Continuing to accept what drains you is a quiet form of self-abandonment, and the longer you do it, the more it becomes who you are. You were not born to live a life of silent frustration. You are not meant to carry burdens that don't belong to you. You are here to build something that reflects your values, your peace, your strength, but none of that can grow when you keep watering the weeds. You need to protect the space where your growth begins, and that starts by choosing what you will no longer accept. This is not about being harsh or ruthless. It's about being honest. It's about saying, I'm tired of feeling like this, and I'm done pretending I'm okay with it. That's when you start moving, not away from others, but toward yourself, toward the life that fits you better, toward the version of you that knows peace isn't found. It's created. No one is going to come and rescue you from what you've been tolerating. You have to be the one to end the cycle, and you don't need permission to do that. You just need to trust that your well-being matters more than your fear of change. The truth is, change is always uncomfortable, but staying stuck is painful, and that pain builds over time until it starts to affect everything: your health, your relationships, your confidence, your dreams. That's the price of avoiding hard decisions, and it's never worth it. You're allowed to say, this no longer works for me. You're allowed to walk away from things that make you feel small. You're allowed to end cycles that leave you empty. You're allowed to reclaim your energy and your voice. And the best part is, you don't need to explain that to anyone who isn't living your life. Start with one thing. Just one. Maybe it's how you respond to people who take advantage of your kindness. Maybe it's the way you spend your mornings, always rushing and anxious, never grounded. Maybe it's the habit of checking your phone first thing and letting the outside world tell you who you are before you've even spoken to yourself. Change that one thing and watch what shifts. Because here's the truth. What you allow becomes your life. And the sooner you start filtering what stays and what goes, the sooner you create space for better things to arrive. This doesn't require force. It requires consistency. You don't have to fight with the old. You just have to stop feeding it. That might mean hard conversations. That might mean sitting with discomfort. That might mean learning to say no, even when your voice shakes. But each time you do, you build trust with yourself, and that trust becomes the foundation for a stronger life. There's power in deciding, this ends with me. Not because you hate the past, but because you love your future too much to keep sacrificing it. Not because you're bitter, but because you're finally ready to live without dragging old pain behind you. This is your turning point. Not tomorrow, not next month. Today. So, what are you allowing right now that keeps hurting you? What do you keep saying it's not that bad about even though it is? What have you convinced yourself you have to live with, even though deep down you know it's breaking you? That's where your work begins. Taking control is not about controlling people. It's about controlling what you give energy to. It's about realizing you can't fix everything, but you can stop enabling what keeps you broken. That's where your power lives. Not in changing the world, but in changing your response to it. From this moment forward, give yourself permission to stop tolerating what doesn't serve you. Speak up when something feels wrong. Walk away when you know it's not aligned with your peace. Make decisions that honor your growth, even if they scare you. That's how you reclaim your life. One choice at a time. And as you do, you'll start to notice something. The more you stop allowing what drains you, the more energy you'll have for what lifts you. The more you say no to what breaks you, the more space you create for what builds you. That's the shift. That's the process, and that's where your life truly begins. You owe it to yourself to stop being loyal to your old pain. You owe it to yourself to stop pretending things are fine when they're not. You owe it to yourself to live in alignment with your peace, your purpose, and your truth. No more waiting for someone to come fix it. No more waiting for the right time. No more staying small so others can stay comfortable. You've given enough chances. You've carried enough weight. You've stayed quiet long enough. Now it's time to stand up. Take control of what you allow to continue. End the cycle. Choose better. And never look back. Chapter 2. Break free from the story that holds you back. There comes a point in every person's life when they realize the story they've been telling themselves is the very thing holding them back. Not the events, not the people, not even the pain, but the story they built around all of it. The interpretation, the identity, the conclusion they've drawn about who they are and what they're worth. That story becomes a cage, and even when the door is open, they don't walk out, because they've convinced themselves they belong there. They've learned to find safety in limitation. They've made discomfort familiar. That's how powerful a story can be. It can trap a free person in an invisible prison for years. Every thought you repeat eventually turns into a belief. And those beliefs shape how you move through life. If you keep saying you're not good enough, you'll avoid opportunities that require courage. If you keep believing no one truly cares, you'll build walls so high no one can get through. If you've convinced yourself that you always fail, you'll subconsciously sabotage anything that starts to go well. It's not because you're broken. It's because you've spent too much time living by a script you didn't write consciously. Some people think healing starts with forgetting what happened, but that's not true. Healing starts when you stop letting what happened define who you are. The truth is, painful experiences will happen to everyone. What makes the difference is what meaning you give to those experiences. And more often than not, the meaning you choose becomes your limitation, not the event itself. You weren't rejected because you're unworthy. You weren't abandoned because you're not lovable. You weren't hurt because you're weak. But if you've been repeating those thoughts for years, they've become part of the story you now see as truth. To break free, you have to question everything you believe about yourself, especially the beliefs that make you shrink. The ones that silence your voice, the ones that make you second-guess your value. Where did those thoughts come from? Who taught you to think that way? What happened that made you conclude this was all you deserved? Those aren't rhetorical questions. They're necessary, because the story that holds you back isn't just made of memories. It's built on unchallenged assumptions. And if you never stop to examine them, you'll live your entire life as the side character in your own story. There's a difference between remembering the past and reliving it. Some people wake up every day and carry the same emotional weight as if the wound just happened. That's because their story has become their identity. They've repeated it so often that they don't know who they are without it. But identity should never be based on pain. You're allowed to grow beyond what hurt you. You're allowed to write a new story even if no one else understands it. You don't need to keep justifying your suffering by carrying it into every room you walk into. When you release the old story, you make space for something better, but you can't release what you still defend. If your pain gives you a reason to stay small, it will always feel safer to hold on. That's why people stay stuck, not because they want to suffer, but because they've connected their story with safety. Letting go feels like losing control. But what they don't realize is they're already out of control, controlled by an idea that was never meant to define them. Start telling the truth, not the version that keeps you a victim. Tell the version that recognizes your strength. Yes, you were hurt, but you survived. Yes, you made mistakes, but you learned. Yes, people let you down, but you rose anyway. That story exists too. The difference is, it requires you to take ownership. It forces you to stop blaming the world. And that's uncomfortable at first, but liberating over time, because when you stop letting the past speak louder than your future, you finally start moving forward. Change doesn't begin with the world around you. It begins in your mind. When you change the way you see yourself, you change the way you respond to life. You no longer tolerate what doesn't align. You no longer chase what isn't healthy. You no longer beg for what you already deserve. That is the power of rewriting your story. It's not about lying to yourself. It's about telling yourself the truth you've been avoiding. That you're not your worst day, your biggest failure, or your most painful memory. You're a living, growing person who deserves more than the limits you've been taught to accept. Nobody else can break the cycle for you. People can love you. They can support you. They can give you tools and encouragement. But if you keep repeating the same internal narrative, their help will never be enough. You have to be the one to say, "This story ends with me." You have to be the one to stop choosing the version of yourself that's afraid, unworthy, or ashamed. That version has served its time. It protected you once. It helped you survive. But now it's keeping you from living. And breaking free doesn't require a dramatic transformation. It starts with one different choice. One moment where you stop yourself from spiraling into the same thought pattern. One day where you speak to yourself with kindness instead of criticism. One decision where you do what's right for you instead of pleasing everyone else. Those small shifts matter, because every time you choose differently, you weaken the grip of the old story. You might feel resistance. That's normal. Your brain is wired to keep you safe, not happy. And the familiar story, even if it's painful, feels safe. But safety is not peace. And peace doesn't come from clinging to what's known. It comes from stepping into the unknown with self-trust. The kind of trust that says, even if I don't have all the answers, I'm not going backward. You don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to stop lying to yourself about who you are. You're not a failure. You're not a burden. You're not stuck. You're simply someone who's outgrown the story you've been living in. That's not a weakness. That's a breakthrough. Use it. Let it guide you into the next chapter. One where you speak your truth without shame. One where you pursue your goals without guilt. One where you no longer ask for permission to heal. And yes, people might not understand the new you. They've only known the version that stayed quiet, that played small, that lived in the past. But you're not living for their comfort. You're living for your growth. You're building a life that reflects who you are becoming, not who you used to be. And the more you step into that truth, the less tempted you'll be to shrink back into your old patterns. Every morning is a blank page. You can wake up and write the same story as yesterday, or you can start choosing different words, words that empower instead of limit, words that build instead of break, words that honor your resilience, your wisdom, your strength. That's how new lives are built, not by chance, but by conscious choice. So make that choice. Break free from the story that no longer fits, not by force, but by truth, not by running from your past, but by rising above it. You've held on to the old version long enough. Now it's time to return to yourself, the version that was always meant to grow. Chapter 3. Accept the past and face what's in front. Most people carry their past like a weight they never agreed to hold. They wake up thinking about it, fall asleep wrestling with it, and live every moment with its shadow over their choices. The moments that hurt them, the decisions they regret, the people who walked away, the opportunities they missed, it all stays. Not because it needs to, but because they haven't yet made peace with the fact that it already happened. There's no undoing it, no rewinding it, no changing the ending. The only power they still have is how they choose to carry it or let it go. Acceptance isn't about agreeing with everything that happened. It's not about pretending it didn't matter or that it didn't leave a scar. It's not about justifying what broke you or making excuses for the people who failed you. Acceptance means you finally stop arguing with the truth. You stop resisting the reality of what was. You stop trying to relive it through memory, hoping somehow it will change. You understand that the event is over, but your attachment to it has not ended, and that is the real problem. There's a kind of pain that doesn't come from the event itself, but from the refusal to accept it. When you stay in denial, you stay in emotional limbo. You can't go back and fix it, but you also can't fully move forward. You're stuck in a loop of what-ifs and should-haves. That loop feels safe because it's familiar, but it's also what's slowly stealing your life away. Your peace, your focus, your joy, they all get buried under the pressure to rewrite a past that can't be touched anymore. To truly accept the past, you have to stop trying to get closure from things that cannot speak for themselves. You have to stop waiting for apologies that will never come. You have to stop hoping that if you revisit the pain just one more time, you'll find a new meaning that sets you free. That's not how healing works. The moment you accept that it happened, that it hurt, that it shaped you, but that it no longer has authority over who you're becoming, that's when you reclaim your power. Facing what's in front of you requires honesty. It demands that you stop hiding behind old stories. It demands that you meet the current moment without dragging yesterday's emotions into it. Most people don't live in the present because the past keeps interrupting it. Their reactions aren't even based on what's happening now. They're responses to old wounds that never got resolved. That's why they get triggered, shut down, lash out, or disappear emotionally. They're not seeing what's really in front of them. They're seeing echoes of the past projected onto the present. You don't need more time to get over it. You need more truth. The truth that you are not defined by what happened. The truth that it's okay to feel pain without letting it control your identity. The truth that you can face this moment with clear eyes, without distorting it through everything you've lived through before. That clarity only comes when you stop avoiding reality. Avoidance is the silent killer of growth. When you avoid facing the now, you live in fragments. You miss opportunities because you're busy analyzing old wounds. You lose time because you're focused on fixing what no longer exists. You drain your energy preparing for battles that are no longer being fought. Life is happening in front of you, but you're too distracted by yesterday to participate in it. You will never feel ready to face everything. You just need to be willing to sit in silence and ask yourself what you're still holding on to. Willing to admit what you haven't truly accepted. Willing to stop rehearsing the same mental arguments just to keep proving to yourself that you were right to be hurt. Hurt doesn't need justification. It just needs release. You're allowed to feel it without clinging to it. The present moment is your most valuable resource. It's where all change begins. It's where all peace is found. It's where every new decision is born. But if your head is turned backward, you'll miss everything in front of you. You can't connect with new people when you're still reliving old betrayals. You can't chase goals when your thoughts are tied to regrets. You can't find joy when you're always waiting for the past to feel better. You have to look up. You have to meet your life where it is. Every person has something in front of them right now that requires their attention. It might be their health, their purpose, their relationships, or simply their peace of mind. But they can't take action on it because they're still emotionally entangled with a previous version of life. That's the trap. Thinking you can move forward without letting go. But movement without emotional freedom is just performance. It looks like progress from the outside, but inside you're still stuck. So stop trying to change the past by replaying it in your mind. Start changing your present by showing up for it with full attention. Take one step that reflects your growth instead of your pain. Speak to yourself with a voice that doesn't sound like your old critic. Make a decision based on who you want to become, not who you used to be. Choose to make the rest of your life stronger than the part that hurt you. Nothing about the past needs to be perfect for you to move forward. It just needs to be accepted for what it was. That's where peace begins. That's where strength builds. That's where clarity returns. When you can say, that happened, and it's part of my story, but it's not my identity, you create space between who you are now and who you were then. That space is where growth lives. You don't need to forget what happened. You just need to stop reliving it. You don't need to erase the past. You just need to stop dragging it into your present. You don't need to silence the pain. You just need to stop letting it speak louder than your potential. That is what it means to accept the past and face what's in front. Not with resentment, not with fear, but with calm, grounded courage. And when you do, you begin to realize that the peace you were waiting for wasn't buried in the past. It was always in the now. It was just waiting for you to arrive. Chapter 4. Stand up for your peace without feeling guilty. Peace should never feel like a luxury or a reward you have to earn after meeting everyone else's expectations. It's a necessity. It's a basic need. But too often, people trade their peace for approval, acceptance, or temporary comfort. They let others interrupt their boundaries, dominate their space, and drain their energy because they're afraid that protecting their peace will make them look selfish or uncaring. But standing up for your peace doesn't make you unkind. It makes you aware. It means you understand that your emotional and mental state is not something you owe to everyone else. There's a quiet strength in choosing not to engage with things that disturb your inner balance. The strength isn't loud. It doesn't argue. It doesn't explain. It doesn't need applause. It simply recognizes that not every invitation deserves a response. Not every confrontation deserves your presence. Not every person deserves access to your inner world. When you reach that level of awareness, you begin to make decisions that feel right, not just decisions that look good to others. Most guilt comes from a learned belief that you must always be available, always say yes, always keep others comfortable, even when it makes you uncomfortable. You were probably taught that pleasing others is the highest virtue and saying no is a sign of weakness or selfishness. But peace demands that you break that conditioning. Peace demands that you listen to your needs before you volunteer yourself to carry everyone else's. You don't have to justify your silence. You don't have to apologize for needing space. You don't need permission to withdraw from things that disturb your emotional safety. Peace isn't created in noisy environments filled with pressure and expectation. It's built in moments when you choose calm over chaos, when you let go of arguments you no longer need to win, and when you walk away from dynamics that no longer support who you're becoming. That kind of decision will always upset someone who benefited from your lack of boundaries, but that discomfort isn't your responsibility to fix. You're not required to keep playing roles that wear you out just because others are used to them. If you've been living in survival mode, constantly reacting to problems, managing other people's emotions, and sacrificing your own needs, it can feel wrong to finally put yourself first. That's not your fault. That's the product of years of conditioning. But now it's your responsibility to break it. Your life doesn't have to revolve around being the fixer, the helper, the one who always says yes. You are not here to please everyone. You're here to live with meaning, intention, and balance. and that balance requires protection. Standing up for your peace is not about creating conflict, it's about creating clarity. Clarity about what you allow, clarity about what you expect, clarity about how you want to feel. You don't need to shout it, you don't need to prove anything, but you do need to be consistent, because inconsistency invites confusion. If you say no but later give in, people learn that your peace is negotiable. If you express your needs but don't follow through on protecting them, people learn that your words are optional. Boundaries are only as strong as your willingness to enforce them without guilt. The guilt you feel when protecting your peace doesn't mean you're doing something wrong, it means you're doing something new. Guilt is often just the echo of your old identity trying to survive, but you're not that version anymore. You've outgrown the idea that peace must come last. You've outgrown the belief that being exhausted is a sign of loyalty. You've outgrown the role of constantly managing other people's comfort while ignoring your own. It's okay to choose rest when others choose noise. It's okay to decline invitations that don't feel right. It's okay to not explain yourself every time you protect your energy. Peace is not selfish. Peace is stability. It's health. It's clarity. It's your right, and no one else has to understand your decision in order for it to be valid. You're not living to meet their expectations. You're living to build something that feels real and sustainable. Some people will test you. They'll challenge your silence. They'll try to pull you into drama. They'll ask questions that try to make you feel small. But those reactions are not about you. They're about their discomfort with your strength. When you no longer react the way you used to, when you no longer engage in cycles that once drained you, you force others to face their own discomfort. That is not your burden. That is the price of growth. You don't need to feel guilty for evolving. You don't need to feel bad for wanting a life that supports your well-being. You don't need to feel wrong for not fitting into roles that were never meant for you in the first place. That guilt will fade. What stays is the peace you build when you stop betraying yourself to keep others satisfied. It may feel unnatural at first. You might second-guess yourself. You might feel tempted to go back to what's familiar, but stay grounded. Keep reminding yourself why you started. You've lived with burnout. You've lived with resentment. You've lived with silence. None of that gave you peace. Now try something different. Try choosing you. Peace isn't about a perfect life. It's about a steady life. A life where you don't feel pulled in 100 directions. A life where your yes means something because you don't say it out of pressure. A life where your no is clear because it protects your emotional space. You deserve that kind of life, but you have to build it by standing up for it, not by waiting for others to offer it to you. You'll notice something over time. When you consistently protect your peace, the right people stay. The ones who understand your boundaries, who respect your time, who don't take your silence as rejection. Those are your people. Everyone else is just noise. And noise is not worth losing yourself for. So if you've been feeling tired, overwhelmed, stretched thin, ask yourself what you've been saying yes to that you should have released long ago. Ask yourself why you keep sacrificing your peace for people or situations that never return the same effort. Then make a new decision, one that supports your inner calm, one that reinforces your worth, one that honors the quiet part of you that's been asking for rest. You don't have to explain it, you just have to live it. Stand up for your peace. Not once, not occasionally, but daily. Guilt will pass, strength will stay, peace will grow, and you will finally begin to feel like yourself again, not the version molded by expectations, but the version anchored in self-respect and emotional clarity. That version doesn't need to prove anything. That version simply knows, this peace is mine, and I will protect it. Chapter 5. Decide who you are without their opinion. Most people spend the best years of their lives trying to become what others want them to be. They mold themselves to fit expectations. They chase validation from voices that barely understand them. They hesitate to speak, act, or choose until someone else gives approval, and slowly, without realizing it, they forget who they really are. They stop trusting their own instincts. They second-guess their worth. They begin to live through filters created by other people's opinions, and they call it safety. But safety that silences your truth is not protection, it's quiet destruction. It's the slow erasure of your identity. You were not born to live a life designed by other people. You were not made to shrink to fit into roles someone else invented. Somewhere along the way, you learned to see yourself through other people's eyes. Maybe it started in childhood, when your worth depended on being good enough. Maybe it showed up in school, when your voice was shut down for not fitting the mold. Maybe it happened in your relationships, when being accepted meant not speaking your truth. Whatever the case, it's time to unlearn all of it. Deciding who you are without their opinion means getting quiet enough to hear your own voice again. It means stopping long enough to ask yourself what you believe, not what you were told to believe. What you value, not what you were pressured to admire. What you want, not what others think is impressive. That kind of clarity can't be borrowed. It has to be built moment by moment, decision by decision. People will always have something to say. They will judge your actions, your choices, your silence, your progress. Some will do it because they care. Others will do it because they don't know any better. A few will do it because your growth threatens their comfort. None of that changes who you are. None of that should shape your identity. You don't need their praise to move forward. You don't need their permission to grow. You don't need their support to take your next step. What you need is self-honesty. You need to look at your life and ask, what parts of me were built for their approval and not for my truth? Maybe it's the way you stay silent when you disagree. Maybe it's the goals you chase just to be seen as successful. Maybe it's the fear of disappointing people that keeps you stuck in places you've outgrown. Those patterns didn't appear overnight. They were shaped by repetition, and they can be unshaped the same way by choosing again and again to act from self-trust rather than self-doubt. No one else gets to define you. Their version of you is based on limited experience, filtered perception, and their own insecurities. It's not real, it's not complete, it doesn't deserve authority over your choices. When you live to please others, you live in fragments, you lose pieces of yourself in every yes that should have been a no. You disappear a little more each time you make yourself small, so someone else can feel comfortable. You don't owe anyone an explanation for choosing yourself. You don't have to defend your healing, your goals, or your values. You don't need to debate your decisions with people who've never had the courage to make their own. Living honestly will always be misunderstood by those who are hiding. That's not your problem to fix. Your job is not to convince the world of your worth. Your job is to live it. There will be moments when you feel uncertain, when old doubts return, when someone's words hit a nerve you didn't know was still raw. In those moments, come back to yourself, not the self others told you to be, the real one, the one who knows what peace feels like, the one who remembers what alignment sounds like, the one who doesn't need to pretend just to be loved. That self is still there, waiting, watching, wanting you to stop hiding. Every time you make a decision that reflects who you really are, you get stronger. Every time you speak honestly without trying to be liked, you grow more grounded. Every time you move in the direction of your truth, instead of their approval, you reclaim another part of yourself. That's what it means to build an identity that can't be shaken by opinions. It doesn't come from arrogance. It comes from inner clarity. Stop measuring your worth by how comfortable others feel around you. Stop trying to impress people who don't even know what they want. Stop living as a reflection of their fears, their values, or their timelines. You are allowed to evolve. You are allowed to change your mind. You are allowed to outgrow people, places, and patterns without explanation. The real power comes when you stop performing. When you walk into a room without wondering how you're being judged. When you speak with conviction because you know your truth doesn't need to be packaged to be valid. When you can be still with yourself without feeling the need to be approved, corrected, or saved. That stillness is what people mistake for confidence. But it's not about being loud. It's about being rooted. Rooted in something deeper than applause. So many dreams die in silence because people wait for others to validate them before they begin. So many lives stay small because people are too afraid to upset the expectations they never agreed to. That is not the life you were meant to live. You weren't made to tiptoe through your own journey. You were made to walk it with intention, with honesty, and with the unshakable decision to be yourself even when it's uncomfortable. This is not about isolating yourself or rejecting others. It's about knowing where they end and you begin. It's about no longer handing out pieces of your identity just to keep the peace. It's about no longer letting the noise outside of you drown the clarity within you. There is something in you that knows what feels real and what feels forced. Trust that. The moment you stop waiting for permission, everything starts to shift. The way you speak, the way you move, the way you choose, you begin to operate from alignment, not approval, from depth, not desperation, from self-worth, not self-sacrifice, and the people who belong in your life will meet you there, not because you bent to fit them, but because you rose in your truth. This isn't easy. You'll face resistance. You'll feel fear. You'll have to relearn what it means to belong to yourself. But with every step, you become lighter, stronger, clearer. Not because you've reached perfection, but because you've stopped pretending. That's the kind of strength that can't be shaken. That's the kind of freedom no one can take from you. Decide who you are, not based on what they expect, not based on who they need you to be, not based on the fear of rejection. Decide from your own truth, from the place in you that knows what peace feels like. That decision will change everything. That decision is your return to yourself. Chapter 6. Let go of people who drained your strength. There comes a point when you can no longer ignore the feeling, the tiredness in your spirit, the heaviness in your chest after certain conversations, the way you hesitate before answering the phone, already knowing how the exchange will leave you feeling. That quiet voice inside, the one you've silenced for too long, starts to grow louder. It says, "This is costing you too much," and deep down, you know it's right. Some people don't just walk through your life, they take from it, not once, not by mistake, but consistently, in ways that leave you emotionally empty. It's not always easy to recognize it at first. It often hides behind guilt, behind loyalty, behind years of shared memories. But the truth doesn't stay hidden forever. You begin to notice how often you feel smaller after being around them, how they shift your joy into obligation, how they need your energy but never notice your exhaustion. They call it friendship, family, love, but love shouldn't require you to abandon yourself to keep the connection alive. The people who drain you don't always do it loudly. Sometimes they play the victim, pulling on your empathy until you forget you're also allowed to have needs. Sometimes they manipulate through silence, making you question what you did wrong even when you did nothing at all. Sometimes they constantly compete with your happiness, showing up only when you're struggling and disappearing when you're thriving. These patterns aren't always obvious, but your body feels the cost. Your mind becomes foggy. Your emotions stay tense, and you start to think the problem is you. It's not you. It's the imbalance. It's the years you spent overgiving without receiving. It's the fear you developed of being seen as selfish for protecting your peace. But self-protection is not selfish. Boundaries are not cruelty. Distance is not betrayal. Sometimes, letting go is the most honest form of healing there is. Because the longer you keep these people close, the further you drift from your own well-being. Letting go doesn't mean you hate them. It doesn't mean you wish them harm. It means you finally choose yourself. You choose to stop managing their emotions at the expense of your own. You choose to stop explaining your worth to people who were never listening. You choose to stop watering connections that leave your soul thirsty. That's not cold. That's clarity. You've given chances. You've tried to communicate. You've carried their weight when they refuse to lift their own. But healing doesn't require you to keep offering your energy to those who waste it. Sometimes love means walking away. Sometimes peace means cutting ties. Sometimes growth requires space from the very people who taught you to shrink. It's painful at first. There's grief. There's second-guessing. There's the ache of detaching from what's familiar, even if it hurt you. But over time, something shifts. The silence becomes comforting. The space becomes liberating. You begin to hear your own thoughts without their criticism echoing in the background. You start to breathe deeper, sleep better, feel lighter. And then it hits you. This is what it feels like to not be drained. You don't need everyone to understand your choice. You don't need them to agree or approve. Your peace is not up for debate. You get to decide who gets access to you. You get to choose which voices surround your growth. You get to walk away from conversations that belittle your progress or ignore your pain, and you never have to apologize for that. You have limited energy. You cannot keep spending it on people who leave you depleted. The world needs your clarity, your presence, your strength. But how can you offer it fully when you're constantly in repair from emotional damage that could be avoided? Letting go doesn't make you weak. It means you've stopped making excuses for dysfunction. It means you've finally decided your well-being is worth protecting. There's strength in walking away without drama, in choosing silence over battles that never end, in deciding that your life doesn't need to be a stage for someone else's chaos. You weren't put here to be anyone's emotional punching bag. You weren't born to spend your life patching holes in people who refuse to heal. You are not responsible for fixing what others continue to break. Letting go isn't giving up. It's growing up. It's realizing that love alone isn't enough. When respect is missing, that history doesn't justify pain in the present. That loyalty to others should never require betrayal of yourself. It's hard, but it's necessary, because the longer you wait, the more pieces of yourself you'll lose trying to keep someone else whole. You are allowed to choose ease. You are allowed to want relationships that feel nourishing, not draining. You are allowed to want people around you who add to your life, not subtract from it. You are allowed to release the guilt they've trained you to carry. That guilt was never yours. It was their tool to keep you available while they remained emotionally absent. One day, you'll look back and see how much lighter you became the moment you stopped trying to fix what was never your responsibility. You'll remember how it felt to finally have space to heal, to grow, to rest. You'll understand that peace wasn't found in getting them to change. It was found in having the courage to let them go. You're not being dramatic, you're being honest. You're not overreacting. You're finally responding to the truth you ignored for too long. You're not cruel. You're just done sacrificing your well-being for people who never showed up for you the same way. That's not bitterness, that's wisdom. Letting go of people who drained your strength is not the end. It's the beginning. It's your return to balance, to clarity, to relationships that feel like safety, not survival. You owe it to yourself to stop justifying mistreatment. You owe it to your future to create space for something healthier. And most of all, you owe it to the person you've become, the one who finally sees their value clearly. You don't need to carry anyone any further. You've done enough. You've held space for long enough. Now it's time to hold space for yourself. Let go, not with anger, but with finality. Not because they're bad, but because you're done breaking yourself in order to stay. This is not abandonment. This is alignment. This is your peace, returning home to you. Chapter 7. Remove blame and take full responsibility today. There's a moment when you have to stop pointing fingers. Not because others weren't wrong, not because pain didn't come from outside of you, but because you finally understand that the only thing you can control is what you do next. Carrying blame is easy. It gives you someone to hold responsible for why things didn't go as planned. It gives you a story to lean on when your confidence is shaken. But it also keeps you stuck. It chains your progress to people who no longer matter, and it stops you from taking back your power. Blame feels comforting in the short term. It makes you feel like the victim, and for a while that might feel justified. But over time, that role begins to drain you. It locks you into a narrative where you're waiting for someone else to change, apologize, or make things right. And in that waiting, you delay your own healing. You place your life in someone else's hands, someone who might never come back, never say sorry, or never even notice what they caused. Meanwhile, your future sits there, untouched, unlived, waiting for you to stop holding on to what can't be fixed by anyone but you. Taking full responsibility isn't about blaming yourself for what others did. It's about accepting that your growth doesn't depend on their guilt. It's about understanding that, from this point on, you are the only one who can move your life forward. You can't rewrite the past, but you can decide what story you live from today. That shift from blame to ownership is where real change begins. That's when you start to see clearly, not from a place of shame, but from a place of deep honesty. You recognize the habits that held you back, the choices you made that you avoided confronting, the truth you ignored to stay comfortable. Responsibility isn't punishment. It's freedom. It's the decision to no longer wait for someone else to hand you peace. When you take responsibility, you stop expecting life to be fair. You stop hoping others will come around, and you start acting from strength, not from wound. You become accountable for your words, your time, your energy, your mindset. You pay attention to what you allow into your life, not just what happens to you, but what you choose to respond to, tolerate, and repeat. It's easy to blame your upbringing, your partner, your boss, your circumstances, and maybe they all played a part. But your life is not a group project. No one else can carry your vision. No one else can build what's meant for you. It's on you to make the most of your time here, and that starts when you stop asking, "Why did this happen to me?" and start asking, "What am I going to do about it now?" That shift changes everything. It makes you look inward with clear eyes. It pushes you to stop waiting for permission to grow. It forces you to examine how your thoughts have shaped your outcomes. Because every decision you've made has led you here. And if you don't like where you are, the only way forward is through radical ownership of your future. Some people will hear that and feel overwhelmed. The weight of being responsible for your life can feel heavy at first, but it's far lighter than the burden of helplessness. When you stop blaming, you stop giving away your power, you stop wasting energy on stories that go nowhere, and you begin to feel something you may not have felt in a long time. Control. Control over your attitude. Control over your choices. Control over what you tolerate and what you pursue. Taking responsibility doesn't mean you won't fail again. It means you'll fail differently, smarter, wiser. With purpose, you'll make decisions that reflect your values instead of your wounds. You'll stop making excuses for staying the same. Because when you truly own your life, excuses become empty, blame becomes boring, and you realize that your peace was never going to be delivered by someone else's apology. It was always waiting on your decision. It might take time to fully embrace this mindset. That's okay. Change is uncomfortable. Growth feels unnatural at first. But little by little, you start to notice the difference. You stop explaining your pain and start transforming it. You stop replaying the past and start redesigning your future. You start choosing actions that align with your values, not your fears. And each step forward adds to your momentum. There's nothing more powerful than someone who's done blaming and has decided to lead their life from truth, not perfection, not pride, but truth. You don't need to have all the answers, you just need to stop waiting for someone else to solve what's now your responsibility to handle. If you were hurt, heal. If you were overlooked, rise anyway. If you were misled, grow wiser. But whatever you do, keep moving. Don't stay stuck in a chapter that already ended. It's tempting to think things would be different if only they had treated you better, seen your value, or given you the chance you deserved. But waiting for someone else to validate your worth is a trap. The world will always reflect how you see yourself. So take ownership of that image. Create a standard for how you want to be treated, and hold yourself to it first. Speak to yourself with the respect you expect from others. Make choices that reflect who you are becoming, not who hurt you. This is how you begin to build a life that's yours, not shaped by blame, but by responsibility, not stuck in old pain, but rooted in new power. The kind of power that doesn't need permission, doesn't look for shortcuts, and doesn't fear starting over. When you take responsibility, you don't need the past to make sense anymore. You only need the courage to do better today. Every day you delay ownership is another day you repeat old cycles. But every day you take responsibility is a new door opening, a new habit forming, a new identity being built. One that's strong enough to lead, to forgive, to let go, and to move on. So start where you are. Own what you can. Don't look back unless it's to learn. And whatever you do, don't stop moving forward. The person you're meant to become is waiting on the other side of that choice. Chapter 8. Create new habits that support your mental freedom. Mental freedom is not something you stumble upon. It's something you deliberately build, brick by brick, through small, consistent choices. If you want a life where your thoughts don't trap you, where anxiety doesn't run the show, and where peace isn't a rare visitor but a daily companion, you have to start changing what you do when no one is watching. It begins with your habits. Not the big, flashy resolutions, but the quiet routines you repeat every day that either calm your mind or clutter it. Your mind is shaped by repetition. The thoughts you entertain, the conversations you replay, the worries you feed, they all become habits. If you've lived most of your life in survival mode, constantly on edge, constantly anticipating disappointment, then peace will feel foreign at first. But it's not because it's out of reach. It's because your brain has become used to chaos. The good news is, just like any muscle, your mind can be trained. And the training begins with deciding what you will no longer accept as normal. If the first thing you do each day is scroll through chaos, compare yourself to others, or dive into other people's problems, then you're handing your peace away before your feet even touch the ground. You're letting the outside world set the tone for your inner world. You need to flip that. Start the day by checking in with yourself, not your phone, not your messages. You sit with your breath. Ask yourself how you want to feel today, not what you have to do, how you want to feel. That question alone can redirect your whole day because it puts your emotional state back in your hands. Mental freedom also means learning to live in the present without letting the past drag behind you like a shadow. This doesn't happen just by telling yourself to let go. It happens by creating new emotional routines that stop feeding the old story. For example, if your habit has been to retreat into guilt every time you make a mistake, replace that reaction with reflection instead. Pause, ask, what can I learn from this? What can I do differently next time? Then move forward. Every time you do that, you interrupt the loop that keeps you mentally tied to shame. Another habit that supports mental freedom is setting boundaries around your attention. You don't have to know every headline, respond to every message, or be available for every conversation. Constant information overload creates mental noise, and mental noise crowds out clarity. If your mind always feels heavy, it may not be because you're weak. It may be because you've never learned to protect your mental space. Start pruning what you consume. Choose quiet. Choose fewer tabs open. Choose to be bored sometimes. Boredom is where creativity lives. It's where your inner voice gets a chance to be heard. If you want a calm mind, your environment has to reflect that too. Clutter is not just physical, it's emotional. The more you surround yourself with things, people and reminders of unfinished business, the more mentally scattered you'll feel. So get in the habit of cleaning up what doesn't serve you. That includes the thoughts you keep entertaining. Start asking yourself, is this thought helping me or hurting me? Is it building my peace or destroying it? That simple question can stop a spiral in its tracks. Habits also include the way you talk to yourself. Pay attention to your inner voice. If it's constantly critical, doubtful, or harsh, then you are making your mind a hostile place. Mental freedom means creating an inner environment where you feel safe with yourself, where you can be honest without being cruel, where you can be accountable without self-attack. Start practicing kindness in your thoughts, not just toward others, but toward yourself. You don't have to wait until you've accomplished something to speak gently to yourself. You need it now, especially now. One of the most transformative habits is the practice of pausing. We live in a world that glorifies urgency, but mental freedom often comes from slowing down. Before you react, pause. Before you agree to something, pause. Before you jump to conclusions, pause. That moment of pause is where you regain control. It's where you catch your old patterns before they take over. It's where you breathe and remember that you are no longer living on autopilot. You are living on purpose. Another helpful habit is journaling. Not to record everything, but to unload what doesn't need to live in your head. Writing down your thoughts, even for 5 minutes a day, can take the pressure off your mind. You don't need to organize them. You don't need to make sense of them. Just release them. Your journal can be a space where your thoughts are allowed to be messy without consequence. And in that mess, you often find clarity. Gratitude is another habit that shifts your mental state. Not in a forced, fake way, but in a way that reminds your brain to look for what's working instead of obsessing over what's not. Train your mind to notice the small victories, the moments of peace, the things that didn't go wrong. Gratitude doesn't mean ignoring problems. It means refusing to let them blind you from what's still good. You can also build habits that create mental space through physical action. Walking in silence, stretching your body, drinking water slowly, preparing a meal with presence. These are all small actions, but when done with intention, they center you. They bring your awareness back to now, and that's what mental freedom is, a return to now, not caught in regret, not tangled in fear, just present. You don't have to change your entire life overnight. You just have to start making different choices, one quiet decision at a time, one conscious action each morning, one pause before reacting. That's how you build a new mental environment. That's how you break free from patterns that held you hostage for years. It's not about being perfect with your habits. It's about being intentional. It's about noticing when you slip and gently guiding yourself back. It's about recognizing that your mental state is shaped by what you do consistently, not what you do occasionally. Freedom in your mind doesn't come from escape. It comes from training. You don't run from your thoughts. You reshape them. You replace what drains you with what strengthens you. And over time, what once felt heavy becomes lighter. What once felt impossible becomes normal. This is your power. To choose what you repeat, to choose what you believe, to choose what you give your energy to every single day. You can't control everything that happens to you, but you can absolutely control the habits that either support your freedom or steal it. And once you learn that, you'll never go back to being the person who waits for peace. You'll become the person who creates it. Chapter 9. Stop revisiting what no longer belongs to you. There is a powerful habit that keeps many people stuck far longer than they need to be. It's the habit of going back over the same memories, conversations, and emotions that no longer serve them. Revisiting what no longer belongs to you is like trying to live in a house that's already been sold. The keys don't fit, the locks are changed, and yet somehow you keep trying to open the doors. You look through the windows, you knock on walls hoping something will be different this time, but it won't, because that chapter is closed. The people, the circumstances, and the feelings you keep dragging back are not yours to carry anymore. Your mind is a storyteller by nature. It likes to rehearse the past. It tries to solve unsolvable problems. It searches for answers that will never come. That pattern might feel natural, but it's not helpful. Every time you replay a situation that's done, you are giving power to something that was meant to stay in the past. You are recycling pain, confusion, and regret, like it's fresh fuel for your day. And the truth is, it drains you. It saps your energy. It clouds your vision. It stops you from moving forward into what's waiting for you now. Breaking this habit is not about forgetting. It's about releasing. Forgetting implies erasing, but releasing means you acknowledge what happened and choose not to carry it anymore. That's a crucial distinction. You learn from your experiences, but you don't have to live in them. The past is a teacher, not a prison. When you hold on tightly to what no longer belongs to you, you confuse attachment with love. You mistake familiarity for safety. You give more attention to loss than to opportunity. When you stop revisiting the past, you start to open space for the present. You begin to notice things you never saw before. New possibilities, new people, new parts of yourself that were buried under old stories. You realize how much time you spent worrying about things you couldn't change instead of investing in things you could. This shift frees your mind from a constant loop of what if and if only, and brings you back to what you can build today. It's normal to feel pulled back. Memories have a way of sneaking in when you least expect them, during quiet moments, before sleep, or when you're feeling vulnerable. But instead of following them, You can train yourself to observe and let go. Imagine your thoughts like leaves floating on a stream. You don't have to grab every leaf. Let them pass by. Allow the current to carry what's done and focus on where the stream is flowing next. Sometimes people revisit the past because it feels safer than the unknown. Change is uncomfortable. Letting go means facing uncertainty, loss, or loneliness, but staying stuck in what no longer belongs is a slow form of suffering. It's choosing pain disguised as familiarity over the chance for growth disguised as risk. You deserve better than that. Your future deserves your full attention. This habit also includes releasing people who no longer fit into your life. Holding on to relationships that have run their course keeps you tied to patterns that limit your growth. The past connections may have been important once, but they don't have to define your present or future. Saying goodbye to those who no longer serve you is a form of self-respect, not rejection. It's recognizing that your peace and progress matter more than pleasing others or fearing loneliness. Part of moving on is forgiving yourself and others. Forgiveness doesn't erase what happened or mean you have to reconnect. It means you stop letting past pain control your emotions and decisions. Forgiveness clears your heart so it can make room for peace. Carrying grudges or regrets only prolongs your suffering and keeps you mentally tied to what's no longer yours. You can create daily rituals that support this release. For example, when memories come up, acknowledge them without judgment, then consciously shift your focus to something grounding: your breath, your surroundings, a positive affirmation. Writing down what you want to let go of, and then physically releasing the paper can be a symbolic and powerful act. Practicing mindfulness helps you stay present and reduces the pull of the past. Your identity doesn't have to be shaped by previous mistakes, heartbreaks, or losses. You are more than your history. You are the sum of your choices right now. The way you respond today is what matters. You can choose to carry your lessons lightly and walk forward with intention. You can choose to stop letting old chapters bleed into your new ones. Remember, growth requires space. You can't plant new seeds while clutching dead leaves. You can't build new relationships while dragging old ones behind you. You can't find peace while replaying pain. It's time to stop reopening closed doors and to start walking through new ones with courage. Let go of what no longer belongs to you with kindness, not force. This is a process, not a one-time decision. Be patient with yourself. Celebrate each moment when you choose presence over the past. Recognize the strength it takes to release what once felt essential but is now only holding you back. By stopping the habit of revisiting what no longer belongs to you, you reclaim your mental space. You reclaim your energy. You reclaim your life. The past has shaped you, but it does not have to define you. The present is yours to claim. The future is yours to create. Let go. Move on. Live free. Chapter 10. Focus only on what you can change now. The moment you shift your focus to what you can change now, you reclaim your power. Life often throws challenges your way that are beyond your control. Holding on to worries about things you cannot change only leads to frustration, anxiety, and exhaustion. When you fixate on those uncontrollable elements, you give your energy away and feel powerless. But the truth is that your peace and progress depend on where you direct your attention. Direct it toward the present and what is within your reach. This is where your true strength lies. You can't rewrite the past or predict the future with certainty. No matter how much you think about them, they remain out of your hands. The past is fixed, and the future is uncertain, but this very moment is a canvas you can shape. Your actions, your thoughts, your decisions, all of these are tools to build your present. When you embrace this mindset, you stop wasting energy on regrets and fears. Instead, you begin to channel your efforts toward tangible improvements. One of the biggest obstacles to focusing on what you can change is the habit of overthinking. When the mind spirals into what-ifs and should-haves, it becomes paralyzed. You feel stuck, overwhelmed by possibilities that never materialize. The key is to recognize when your mind is drifting into unproductive territory and gently bring it back to the here and now. Ask yourself, what action can I take right now? Even a small step forward breaks the cycle of stagnation. It helps to clearly define what is within your control and what isn't. This exercise might sound simple, but it's surprisingly powerful. Write down the things that bother you and categorize them. Some will be things you can influence, such as your attitude, habits, and responses. Others will be external events, other people's opinions, or past decisions that cannot be changed. When you see the distinction on paper, it becomes easier to focus your energy on the first category and release the second. Taking control over what you can change requires courage and honesty. It means facing the parts of your life where you might have been passive or reactive. It's uncomfortable to admit when you've been waiting for external circumstances to improve before you act. But once you accept responsibility for your own choices and behaviors, you regain a sense of agency. You realize that you have more power than you thought to influence your reality. The process of focusing on what you can change also demands patience. Real change rarely happens overnight. It comes from steady, consistent effort applied to the right areas. You don't have to overhaul your entire life in a day. Instead, prioritize the small changes that add up. Adjust your daily routine, shift your mindset. Let go of toxic habits. Each of these moves is a building block toward a stronger present. Another challenge is dealing with distractions and outside pressures that pull your attention away from your priorities. Social media, constant news cycles, and other people's drama can easily consume your focus. Creating mental boundaries is crucial. Limit your exposure to what drains your energy or clouds your judgment. This clears space for you to work on what truly matters to you, instead of reacting to endless noise. When you direct your energy toward changeable factors, you also build resilience. You develop the habit of taking proactive steps, instead of waiting for perfect conditions. You cultivate a mindset that adapts and grows rather than resists and resents. This resilience empowers you to face difficulties without being overwhelmed by them. It allows you to keep moving forward, even when progress is slow or uncertain. One practical way to maintain focus is by setting clear goals and breaking them into manageable tasks. When your objectives are too vague or too big, it's easy to get lost or discouraged. But when you have a specific next step to take, it grounds you in action. Celebrate each small victory because it reinforces your ability to influence your life positively. This momentum keeps you motivated and committed. It's important to remind yourself that focusing on what you can change is not about controlling everything or being perfect. It's about making conscious choices within your capacity. There will always be variables beyond your reach, but how you respond to them is always your choice. When you accept this, you reduce stress and increase clarity. Your energy is spent on growth, not on frustration. This mindset shift also improves your relationships. When you focus on changing your own behavior and reactions instead of trying to control others, interactions become healthier. You become more patient, less reactive, and more understanding. This creates a positive cycle where your personal growth influences your environment in constructive ways. Focusing on what you can change also connects deeply with self-compassion. Sometimes people resist this focus because they feel guilty for not fixing everything at once. They expect immediate results and punish themselves for perceived failures. But real change comes from kindness toward yourself, recognizing your limits and progress simultaneously. When you allow yourself grace, you create a safe space for lasting transformation. Each day presents new opportunities to practice this focus. When challenges arise, pause and ask yourself, is this something I can change right now? If yes, take action. If no, remind yourself to let it go. Repeat this habit consistently. Over time, your ability to discern and respond will sharpen, your mind will become clearer, and your life will feel lighter. Ultimately, focusing only on what you can change now is a declaration of empowerment. It says you are done wasting energy on helplessness. It means you choose growth, presence, and action over worry and regret. It opens the door to peace because you stop fighting battles you cannot win. Instead, you invest in the victories within your reach. This focus is the foundation for every other step in personal growth. Without it, efforts become scattered and exhausting. With it, you build a life rooted in intention and possibility. Your future becomes something you create moment by moment, choice by choice. You have the power to choose where your attention goes. Use that power wisely. Let go of what you cannot change. Embrace the actions you can take now. In doing so, you reclaim your strength and open the way for meaningful, lasting transformation. Chapter 11. Build emotional strength through simple daily decisions. Emotional strength is not born from grand gestures or sudden breakthroughs. It is cultivated quietly through the small, consistent choices you make each day. Each decision to respond with patience instead of anger, to practice forgiveness instead of resentment, or to stay calm instead of reacting impulsively, adds a layer of resilience to your inner world. These daily moments might feel insignificant in isolation, but over time they accumulate and create an unshakable foundation that supports you through life's challenges. Building emotional strength begins with awareness. You cannot change what you don't notice. The first step is to recognize your emotional patterns, the triggers that pull you into negativity, the habits that leave you drained, and the moments when you choose reactions that don't serve you. Awareness gives you the chance to pause, to make a conscious choice rather than an automatic reaction. This pause is the birthplace of strength. Every day presents countless opportunities to practice this pause. When someone frustrates you, you can choose whether to snap back or breathe deeply and respond thoughtfully. When you face a setback, you can decide to let it define you or to see it as a temporary obstacle. These moments might seem small, but they matter more than any external validation or quick fix. They are the true measure of your emotional muscle. Choosing to be honest with yourself is another pillar of emotional strength. It's easy to hide behind denial, blame, or avoidance. But true strength demands that you face your feelings openly, no matter how uncomfortable. When you allow yourself to feel sadness, fear, or anger without judgment, you prevent those emotions from gaining hidden power over you. Naming your feelings takes away their mystery and reduces their control. Setting boundaries is a practical daily decision that builds emotional fortitude. It means saying no to what drains you and yes to what nurtures you. Boundaries protect your energy and allow you to show up fully for the things that truly matter. When you respect your limits, you teach others how to treat you. This respect forms a circle of safety where your emotional strength can grow without unnecessary strain. Gratitude is a simple but powerful choice that reinforces emotional resilience. By acknowledging what is good in your life, you shift your perspective away from scarcity and loss toward abundance and possibility. This shift doesn't ignore pain or difficulty, but it balances your emotional experience. Daily gratitude rewires your brain to seek positivity, making you less vulnerable to despair. Emotional strength also means learning to forgive. Not just others, but yourself. Carrying grudges or guilt weighs down your spirit. Forgiveness frees you from this burden. It doesn't excuse hurtful behavior, but it releases you from being tied to it. Each time you choose forgiveness, you reclaim space in your heart for peace and growth. Taking care of your body supports emotional resilience as well. Physical health and mental health are deeply connected. Simple daily decisions like eating nourishing foods, moving your body, and getting enough rest help regulate your mood and energy levels. When your body feels strong, your emotions are easier to manage. Neglecting physical needs makes emotional challenges harder to face. Practicing kindness, both inward and outward, builds emotional strength. When you respond to yourself with compassion, you create a safe inner environment that encourages growth rather than self-criticism. Extending kindness to others nurtures connection and empathy, which in turn supports your emotional well-being. Daily acts of kindness, no matter how small, reinforce the strength of your character. Resilience grows when you embrace challenges as opportunities rather than threats. This mindset shift is a daily decision to see setbacks as lessons, not failures. When difficulties arise, ask yourself what this experience can teach you. Over time, this habit rewires your response from fear to curiosity, from avoidance to engagement. Each challenge faced builds confidence in your ability to handle whatever comes next. Mindfulness practices cultivate emotional strength by grounding you in the present moment. Whether through meditation, focused breathing, or simply paying attention to your senses, mindfulness trains your brain to observe thoughts and feelings without becoming overwhelmed. This mental space creates calm amidst chaos and clarity amidst confusion. Making mindfulness a daily habit strengthens your capacity to regulate emotions effectively. Learning to ask for help is also a sign of emotional strength. It requires vulnerability and courage to admit when you can't do everything alone. Seeking support from trusted people doesn't show weakness. It demonstrates wisdom and self-awareness. Surrounding yourself with a supportive network builds resilience by reminding you that strength can come from connection, not just independence. Setting realistic expectations reduces emotional strain. When you aim for progress instead of perfection, you free yourself from constant disappointment. Adjusting your goals to what is achievable today keeps you motivated and prevents burnout. Each small success reinforces your emotional stamina, encouraging you to keep moving forward. Reflection is a daily tool that deepens emotional growth. Taking time to review your day, your reactions, and your choices helps you identify patterns and areas for improvement. This honest self-assessment fuels intentional growth. It ensures that your emotional strength is not accidental, but built with purpose. Choosing to focus on what you can control in any situation preserves your emotional energy. You cannot manage every outcome or change other people's behavior, but you can manage your attitude, your effort, and your response. Directing your energy toward these areas builds confidence and reduces feelings of helplessness. Patience is a daily decision that sustains emotional strength over time. Growth and healing are processes, not events. When you remind yourself to be patient with yourself and the journey, you avoid frustration that can weaken your resolve. Patience allows steady progress, even when results are not immediately visible. Celebrating your progress nurtures motivation and emotional resilience. Taking time to acknowledge how far you've come, no matter how small the steps, reinforces your sense of accomplishment. This celebration fuels your desire to keep building strength and facing life's challenges with courage. Building emotional strength through daily decisions is a commitment to yourself. It's choosing growth even when it's uncomfortable. It's choosing calm over chaos, action over avoidance, and hope over despair. These choices add up to a life where your emotions serve you instead of controlling you. Every small decision to practice resilience, kindness, honesty, and patience shapes who you are becoming. Emotional strength is not a destination, but a journey built one conscious moment at a time. This ongoing process equips you to navigate life's ups and downs with grace and power. You have the ability to cultivate this strength. Start with one choice today, one habit you can commit to, then another tomorrow. Keep building momentum till emotional resilience is your natural way of being. The results will transform your inner world and ripple out into every part of your life. Chapter 12. Say what you need and mean every word. Speaking your truth clearly and meaning every word is a skill that shapes your relationships, your confidence, and ultimately your life. When you communicate honestly, you create space for genuine connection and set clear boundaries that protect your well-being. Saying what you need is not about confrontation or demanding. It's about expressing yourself with clarity and respect for both yourself and others. It's a way to honor your values and prevent misunderstandings that drain energy and cause frustration. Many people struggle with speaking up because they fear rejection, conflict, or being misunderstood. These fears are natural but often overstated. The cost of silence or vague communication is much higher than the discomfort of honest expression. When you suppress your needs, you build resentment and self-doubt. Your voice becomes quieter and your presence less visible. This diminishes your influence and leaves you feeling disconnected from your own life. The first step in saying what you need is to know what you actually need. This requires self-awareness and reflection. Take time to identify your feelings and desires without judgment. Sometimes people confuse wants with needs or suppress their true needs to avoid conflict. When you clarify your core needs, whether it's respect, support, space, or honesty, you can communicate them clearly. This clarity makes your message more powerful and reduces confusion. Speaking clearly also means choosing your words thoughtfully. Avoid vague or passive language that leaves room for misinterpretation. Instead of saying, "I guess it would be nice if," say, "I need," or "I want." This directness helps others understand where you stand and what you expect. It also shows that you value your own feelings and are willing to advocate for yourself. Meaning every word means being truthful, not only with others, but with yourself. Don't say things you don't mean to avoid discomfort or please others. This kind of insincerity erodes trust over time. Your words carry weight because they reflect your integrity. When you speak authentically, people sense your confidence and are more likely to listen and respect your perspective. Nonverbal communication plays a crucial role in making your words meaningful. Your tone, eye contact, and body language should align with your message. Saying "I need space" softly while avoiding eye contact can confuse the listener and weaken your point. Be mindful of how you present your words so that your whole being communicates the same truth. Listening is equally important in this process. Saying what you need doesn't mean dominating conversations or disregarding others' feelings. Genuine communication is a two-way street. When you express yourself clearly, you also invite others to do the same. This openness creates a safe environment where honest dialogue can thrive and relationships can deepen. Timing and context matter as well. Choose moments when you and the other person are calm and able to engage constructively. Avoid raising important issues during heated arguments or stressful times. Planning your conversations thoughtfully increases the chance that your needs will be heard and respected. Saying what you need requires practice and courage. It's normal to feel nervous or hesitant, especially if you're used to putting others' needs first or avoiding conflict. Start small, practice expressing your preferences in low-stakes situations. Notice how it feels to be honest and observe the responses you get. Over time, your confidence will grow and speaking up will become more natural. Remember that not everyone will respond perfectly or agree with you. That's okay. Your responsibility is to be clear and honest, not to control others' reactions. Some people might be surprised or defensive, but your consistency and respectfulness will help establish new patterns over time. This practice also involves saying no when necessary. Many people struggle to decline requests for fear of disappointing others. Saying no is an essential part of honoring your limits and priorities. You can say no kindly and firmly without feeling guilty. This strengthens your boundaries and frees you to invest your energy where it truly matters. When you speak your needs, you reduce misunderstandings and avoid the buildup of unspoken frustrations. People around you will learn to appreciate your honesty and reliability. Your relationships become more authentic and supportive. You create a life where your voice matters and your needs are valued. Saying what you need also deepens your self-respect. When you honor your feelings and desires through words, you reinforce your worthiness. This self-respect builds inner strength and resilience, helping you navigate challenges with clarity and confidence. This skill carries over into all areas of life: work, family, friendships, and even how you communicate with yourself. Internal dialogue matters. When you tell yourself the truth about your needs and feelings, you make better choices and treat yourself with kindness. In moments of doubt or hesitation, remind yourself that your needs are valid. You deserve to express them without fear or apology. This mindset shifts your relationship with communication from one of avoidance to one of empowerment. Every conversation where you say what you need and mean it is an opportunity for growth. It trains your mind and heart to value honesty and clarity. It teaches others how to treat you. It sets a foundation for a life lived openly and authentically. Keep practicing this skill. Speak up even when it feels uncomfortable. Trust that your voice has power, meaning every word you say not only transforms your relationships, but also transforms your sense of self. This transformation is a key step in creating a life where you feel seen, heard, and respected for exactly who you are. Chapter 13. Protect your energy from toxic patterns and cycles. Energy is a precious resource that directly impacts every area of your life. When you protect it, you increase your ability to think clearly, act decisively, and maintain emotional balance. Toxic patterns and cycles, however, drain this vital energy without you always realizing it. These negative loops can take many forms: unhealthy relationships, recurring destructive habits, or constant exposure to negativity. Learning to identify and protect your energy from these sources is essential for lasting well-being and personal growth. Toxic patterns often sneak into your life disguised as familiarity or obligation. They may be habits you've repeated for years or relationships that feel hard to leave. Sometimes you accept these cycles because they provide a false sense of comfort or predictability, even if they hurt you. Breaking free from these patterns starts with awareness, recognizing what behaviors or situations consistently drain you or cause distress. One common toxic pattern is excessive people-pleasing. When you constantly put others' needs before your own, you sacrifice your energy and boundaries. This creates a cycle where your emotional tank runs empty, while others become dependent on your availability. Learning to say no and prioritize your needs is critical to protecting your energy. It requires practice and courage, but leads to healthier interactions and more personal strength. Another harmful cycle is engaging in negative self-talk. When your inner voice repeatedly criticizes or doubts you, it lowers your confidence and motivation. This internal toxicity feeds into feelings of unworthiness and keeps you stuck in a downward spiral. Replacing harsh judgments with compassionate and constructive thoughts shields your energy from needless depletion and fosters resilience. Toxic relationships are a significant drain on your mental and emotional resources. These connections may involve manipulation, constant criticism, or lack of support. Such dynamics create stress and undermine your sense of safety. Setting clear boundaries or choosing distance from these relationships is an act of self-care that protects your well-being. Remember, your peace is more important than maintaining approval or avoiding conflict. Repetitive negative habits, like procrastination or substance abuse, also trap you in energy-draining cycles. These habits offer short-term relief, but lead to long-term harm. Recognizing these behaviors as toxic patterns gives you the power to interrupt and replace them with healthier alternatives. Small changes in routine and mindset can gradually break these cycles and restore your vitality. Constant exposure to negative environments or media is another source of energy loss. The news, social media, or gossip often bombard you with stress-inducing content. Limiting your intake of such influences helps maintain mental clarity and emotional balance. Curate your surroundings to include positive, uplifting inputs that energize rather than exhaust you. Protecting your energy means being intentional with how you spend your time and attention. Every moment devoted to something that harms your peace is a moment lost for growth and happiness. Learn to recognize early signs of depletion like irritability, fatigue, or loss of motivation. These signals are your mind and body's way of asking for protection and care. Creating daily habits that reinforce your energy boundaries is key. Practices like mindfulness, journaling, or regular exercise build inner strength and increase your capacity to resist toxic influences. These routines center you and help you stay connected to what nourishes your spirit instead of what drains it. It is also essential to cultivate a supportive community. Surround yourself with people who uplift and encourage you. Positive relationships provide energy boosts that balance out stress and negativity. Engaging in meaningful conversations and shared activities reinforces your emotional reserves. Learning to forgive yourself and others is part of energy protection. Holding on to resentment or guilt acts like an invisible weight that saps your strength. Forgiveness releases this burden and frees space for peace and renewal. It doesn't mean forgetting or excusing harm, but choosing not to let it continue controlling your energy. Practicing self-compassion during setbacks prevents toxic self-criticism from draining your energy further. Life will have challenges and failures, but how you respond shapes your emotional resilience. Treat yourself with kindness and patience, acknowledging effort rather than perfection. Prioritize rest and recovery to recharge your energy fully. Many people underestimate the power of proper sleep, nutrition, and downtime. Without these, your ability to resist toxic patterns weakens. Treat rest as a non-negotiable part of your routine that fuels all other efforts. Recognize that protecting your energy is a continual process. New challenges and people will test your boundaries. Stay vigilant and adjust your strategies as needed. Each time you successfully guard your energy, you reinforce your capacity to live with clarity and purpose. Taking responsibility for your energy also means letting go of guilt or obligation that keeps you trapped in harmful cycles. You are not responsible for fixing others or enduring negativity to keep peace. Your primary duty is to yourself and your well-being. By protecting your energy from toxic patterns and cycles, you gain freedom to pursue your goals without unnecessary drag, freedom to experience joy and peace without hidden costs, freedom to grow into the person you want to become. This protection enables you to show up more fully in your life. Your relationships improve because you bring your best self instead of a drained version. Your work benefits because you have clarity and focus. Your mind and body thrive because you respect their limits. The practice of energy protection may be challenging at times. It requires saying no, setting limits, and sometimes walking away from familiar situations. But the long-term benefits far outweigh the discomfort. Each step you take toward protecting your energy builds momentum for a healthier and more fulfilling life. Commit to this practice daily. Notice what depletes you and take action to shield yourself. Cultivate what restores you. Over time, you will develop a strong inner fortress that preserves your peace and supports your dreams. You deserve to live with energy and enthusiasm. Protecting yourself from toxic patterns is a powerful way to claim that life. The path is yours to choose, and each choice you make strengthens your ability to live fully and freely. Chapter 14. Show up even when you feel like hiding. There are moments when retreat feels like the safest option, when hiding seems like the only way to protect yourself from disappointment, judgment, or overwhelm. Those feelings are natural and human. Yet, true growth and transformation come from the choice to show up despite that urge to disappear. Showing up means stepping into your life fully, with courage and determination, even when fear, doubt, or fatigue whisper that it's easier to stay invisible. This decision is a powerful act of self-respect and a statement that you refuse to let challenges define you. When you decide to show up while feeling vulnerable, you are exercising your inner strength. This strength isn't about never feeling scared or uncertain. It's about recognizing those feelings and moving forward anyway. Showing up isn't a one-time heroic act, but a series of consistent choices to face each day with honesty and presence. These small decisions add up and build a resilient spirit that refuses to be defeated by circumstances. The reasons behind wanting to hide are often tied to past hurts or fears about the future. You might fear rejection, failure, or not being enough. These fears create a protective wall that isolates you, but also keeps you stuck. Understanding that these feelings are part of the human experience can help you be kinder to yourself. It's okay to feel afraid or overwhelmed. The key is to not let those feelings stop you from living the life you want. Showing up when you feel like hiding requires shifting your mindset. Instead of waiting for confidence or perfect conditions, accept where you are right now. Accept your imperfections, your doubts, and your limitations. This acceptance doesn't mean settling or giving up. It means acknowledging your reality and choosing action regardless. When you stop waiting for permission from yourself or others, you reclaim control over your life. Action fuels courage. The smallest step forward can break the cycle of hiding. It might be as simple as sending a message, attending a meeting, or speaking up in a conversation. Each step, no matter how small, reinforces your ability to face discomfort and push through resistance. Over time, this builds momentum and makes showing up easier and more natural. Accountability helps sustain this practice. When you commit to showing up, share your goals with someone you trust or write them down. This external support creates a sense of responsibility and motivation. Knowing someone else is aware of your intentions can encourage you to follow through, even when your inner voice urges you to retreat. Self-compassion is vital when showing up feels difficult. You might not perform perfectly or receive the response you hoped for. That's part of the process. Instead of criticizing yourself for struggling, offer understanding and encouragement. Recognize your efforts and remind yourself that growth involves setbacks. This kindness keeps you moving forward without losing heart. Developing a routine that includes showing up helps normalize the practice. Establish habits that require you to engage regularly, such as daily journaling, exercise, or social interaction. These routines create structure and reduce the energy needed to make the choice each time. As consistency grows, so does your confidence and resilience. Remember that showing up benefits not only yourself, but also those around you. When you show up authentically, you inspire others to do the same. Your presence creates opportunities for connection, support, and positive impact. Even if your efforts seem small, they ripple outward in ways you may never fully see. At times, hiding might feel like it protects you from pain, but it also deprives you of joy, growth, and fulfillment. Showing up opens doors to new experiences and relationships that enrich your life. It allows you to learn from challenges instead of avoiding them. This engagement with life brings meaning and purpose that cannot be found in retreat. Building courage to show up requires practice in managing your inner dialogue. Replace thoughts like "I can't handle this" with "I am doing my best, and that is enough." These affirmations strengthen your mindset and reduce the power of fear. Your thoughts shape your feelings and actions, so choose ones that empower you to be present. Visualizing success before showing up can also help. Picture yourself facing the situation with confidence and calm. Imagine positive outcomes and your ability to handle difficulties. Visualization prepares your mind and body to act rather than freeze. It reduces anxiety and builds a sense of readiness. If you find yourself overwhelmed, break down the situation into manageable parts. Focus on what you can control at this moment instead of the whole challenge at once. Taking it step by step makes showing up less daunting and more achievable. Celebrate progress along the way to maintain motivation. Surrounding yourself with supportive people strengthens your resolve. Seek relationships that encourage you to be your authentic self and hold you accountable. Distance yourself from those who discourage or drain you. Your environment greatly influences your willingness and ability to show up. Recognize that some days showing up means simply getting through the day without giving in to despair. Sometimes survival is the victory. Honor those days as important steps in your journey. Every effort counts and builds your resilience, even if it feels small. Reflect regularly on the benefits you experience by showing up. Notice how your confidence grows, how relationships deepen, and how you feel more connected to your purpose. These reflections remind you why it matters and reinforce your commitment. Showing up while feeling like hiding is not about denying your emotions or pretending everything is fine. It is about acknowledging your feelings and choosing action regardless. This balance between honesty and courage creates authentic strength that carries you through tough times. This practice also builds trust in yourself. When you show up consistently, you prove that you are reliable and capable. This self-trust reduces self-doubt and fear, making future challenges easier to face. Ultimately, showing up is a declaration that you matter. It says your life and voice have value, even when it's hard to believe. It honors your potential and your right to pursue happiness and growth. Each time you choose presence over avoidance, you rewrite your story. You build a life rooted in courage and authenticity rather than fear and isolation. This transformation is a journey made one brave step at a time. Commit to showing up today. Even if it's uncomfortable, even if you don't feel ready, show up anyway. Your future self will thank you for the strength you built in this moment. Your life will become richer, fuller, and more meaningful because you chose to be present. Chapter 15. Choose growth every time fear tries to win. Fear is one of the most powerful emotions that can stop progress before it even begins. It is a natural response to uncertainty, risk, and the unknown. Everyone experiences fear, but what separates those who grow from those who remain stuck is the choice made in the moment when fear appears, to give in or to choose growth. Choosing growth means deliberately pushing beyond comfort, embracing challenges, and refusing to let fear dictate your path. This choice transforms fear from a roadblock into a catalyst for personal development. Fear often disguises itself as hesitation, doubt, or excuses. It whispers that you're not ready, not capable, or that failure is certain. These thoughts can feel convincing because they come from an instinct to protect you from harm or disappointment. While that instinct is meant to keep you safe, it can also limit your potential. Recognizing fear's voice is the first step to choosing growth. Awareness allows you to pause and question whether the fear is grounded in reality or simply an emotional reaction holding you back. Choosing growth requires a mindset shift. Instead of seeing fear as a signal to retreat, view it as a sign that you are on the edge of something important. Fear often accompanies growth because it pushes you into unfamiliar territory. This discomfort is a natural part of learning and expanding your abilities. When you reframe fear as a signal of opportunity, you begin to approach challenges with curiosity rather than avoidance. Taking action despite fear is a powerful practice. Growth doesn't happen when you wait for fear to disappear. It happens when you move forward while feeling afraid. Courage is not the absence of fear, but the decision to act in spite of it. Each time you take a step forward despite fear, you weaken its grip and strengthen your confidence. These small victories accumulate and create momentum that makes future challenges easier to face. Preparation helps reduce fear's intensity. When you equip yourself with knowledge, skills, and support, you increase your readiness to handle new situations. This preparation doesn't eliminate fear, but gives you tools to manage it constructively. Whether learning a new skill, seeking advice, or practicing visualization, preparation builds your sense of control and lowers anxiety. Failure is often the fear that holds people back the most. It's important to redefine what failure means. Failure is not a permanent state or a reflection of your worth. It is feedback and a necessary part of growth. Each setback teaches valuable lessons that guide your next steps. Choosing growth means embracing failure as an essential part of progress rather than a reason to stop. Self-talk plays a critical role in managing fear. Negative or limiting thoughts amplify fear and create a cycle of avoidance. Replacing those thoughts with empowering affirmations helps rewire your mindset. Statements like "I am capable of learning" or "mistakes are part of my journey" support resilience and encourage action. Consistent practice of positive self-talk strengthens your mental and emotional muscles. Building a support system encourages growth when fear threatens to win. Sharing your goals and challenges with trusted friends, mentors, or coaches provides encouragement and accountability. Others can remind you of your strengths when you doubt yourself. Their belief in you can be a powerful motivator to keep moving forward. Mindfulness and breathing techniques calm the nervous system and reduce fear's physical symptoms. When fear arises, the body often reacts with tension, rapid heartbeat, or shallow breathing. Mindful breathing slows these reactions and centers your focus. This physical regulation creates space to choose growth rather than react impulsively to fear. Setting realistic and incremental goals helps make growth manageable. Large leaps can feel overwhelming and trigger fear, but smaller, achievable steps build confidence and competence. Celebrate progress at each stage, reinforcing the positive impact of choosing growth. These wins provide tangible proof that fear does not have to control your journey. Learning from others who have faced fear and chosen growth offers inspiration. Their stories demonstrate that fear is universal, but not insurmountable. Recognizing that many successful people have experienced fear normalizes your own struggles and provides practical examples of overcoming it. Use these role models as motivation to keep choosing growth. Consistency is key. Choosing growth once is not enough to overcome deeply ingrained fears. It requires ongoing commitment to face fear regularly and act intentionally. Each decision to choose growth strengthens your resilience and reduces fear's power over time. This persistent effort shapes your character and expands your possibilities. Gratitude can shift your focus away from fear. When you acknowledge what you have achieved and the support around you, it reduces feelings of scarcity and vulnerability that fuel fear. A mindset of gratitude creates emotional balance and encourages a positive outlook, making it easier to confront fears with optimism. Visualizing positive outcomes prepares your mind for success rather than failure. When you imagine yourself succeeding and handling challenges effectively, you build confidence and reduce anxiety. Visualization is a mental rehearsal that prepares you to take real-world action with greater assurance. Accepting uncertainty as a natural part of life reduces the fear of the unknown. No one has complete control over the future, and trying to predict or avoid uncertainty leads to paralysis. Choosing growth means embracing life's unpredictability and trusting your ability to adapt and thrive despite it. Forgiving yourself for past mistakes removes guilt and shame that can intensify fear. When you release these burdens, you free yourself to move forward without being weighed down by regret. Self-forgiveness opens space for courage and growth. Celebrating courage reinforces the habit of choosing growth. Recognize and reward yourself when you face fear, no matter the outcome. This positive reinforcement strengthens your motivation and builds a resilient mindset. Choosing growth also involves patience. Transformation takes time, and setbacks are part of the process. Avoid rushing or expecting immediate change. Embrace the journey with steady commitment, knowing that persistence will yield results. Ultimately, choosing growth every time fear tries to win is a daily practice that defines your life's trajectory. It empowers you to live with intention and purpose, rather than being driven by avoidance and limitation. This choice opens the door to new experiences, deeper self-understanding, and greater fulfillment. By consistently choosing growth, you rewrite your relationship with fear. You transform it from a barrier into a signal that you are moving towards something meaningful. This transformation creates a life of courage, resilience, and continuous self-improvement. Begin now by identifying one area where fear holds you back, and commit to taking one small step forward. Trust that each choice to choose growth builds a stronger, wiser, and more empowered version of yourself. The path is yours to walk, and every decision to move forward is a victory over fear. Chapter 16. Use pain as proof that healing has begun. Pain is often seen as something to avoid or fear, yet it holds a powerful message. It signals that healing is in progress. Pain is not the enemy, but a sign that something within you is shifting, growing, or repairing itself. When you learn to understand pain as proof that healing has begun, you transform suffering into a source of strength and hope. This perspective changes your relationship with pain and opens the door to deeper recovery and growth. Pain is a natural response to loss, disappointment, trauma, or change. It surfaces because something inside needs attention and care. Ignoring or suppressing pain may provide temporary relief, but it delays healing and keeps wounds open. Allowing yourself to feel pain fully is a courageous act that acknowledges your humanity. This acceptance creates space for transformation and renewal. Healing is not linear. It comes with ups and downs, moments of clarity, and times of struggle. Pain often increases before it diminishes because deep healing involves confronting what was hidden or avoided. This process can be uncomfortable, but it is necessary for true recovery. Recognizing that pain is a sign you are moving through healing helps you stay patient and committed during difficult times. Emotional pain frequently feels overwhelming because it connects to your sense of identity and safety. When you experience betrayal, rejection, or failure, your core beliefs about yourself and the world can be shaken. This disruption triggers intense feelings that demand attention. Facing these feelings honestly rather than denying them strengthens your emotional resilience and helps rebuild your sense of security. Physical pain also carries messages from your body that require care. Chronic pain or injury asks for rest, treatment, and lifestyle adjustments. Healing in the body parallels healing in the mind and spirit. Treating pain as a sign of healing encourages you to listen deeply to your body's needs and honor them with kindness and patience. Pain can act as a teacher, revealing hidden wounds and limiting beliefs. It uncovers patterns and triggers that may have kept you stuck in unhealthy cycles. This awareness is the foundation for change. By exploring the source of your pain with curiosity and self-compassion, you gain insights that guide your healing journey. Connection with others is vital when navigating pain. Sharing your struggles with trusted people fosters support and validation. Isolation intensifies pain and slows healing. Expressing your pain creates opportunities for empathy and encouragement, reminding you that you are not alone. Self-care practices nurture healing by soothing pain and restoring balance. Activities like meditation, gentle movement, creative expression, and spending time in nature calm your nervous system and nurture your spirit. These practices remind you that healing is an active process that requires consistent attention and love. Forgiveness plays a crucial role in using pain as a sign of healing. Holding on to anger or resentment keeps you tied to the pain and prevents forward movement. Forgiveness releases this grip and frees your heart. It is not about condoning harm, but about reclaiming your peace and power. Pain also deepens empathy and compassion. Experiencing hardship makes you more understanding of others' struggles. This expanded perspective enriches your relationships and connects you to a greater sense of purpose. Healing becomes not only personal, but a way to contribute positively to the world. The stories you tell yourself about pain influence your healing. Viewing pain as permanent suffering traps you in despair. Choosing to see it as a temporary and transformative process empowers you to keep moving forward. Your narrative shapes your experience, so craft one that honors your strength and potential. Healing requires patience and gentleness. Pressuring yourself to get over it quickly ignores the natural pace of recovery. Respecting your timeline reduces frustration and self-criticism. Each small step toward wholeness is progress, even if invisible to others. Mindfulness helps you stay present with pain without being overwhelmed. Observing pain without judgment creates a different relationship to it. This awareness reduces suffering and increases your ability to respond skillfully rather than react impulsively. Sometimes pain surfaces in unexpected ways, like irritability, fatigue, or physical symptoms. Recognizing these signs as part of healing allows you to address them thoughtfully. Self-awareness is a key tool in managing pain constructively. Setting boundaries protects your healing process. Limiting exposure to people or situations that exacerbate pain creates a safe environment for recovery. Prioritizing your well-being is essential, not selfish. Healing is a journey of reclaiming your power. Pain signals that you are moving from a place of hurt toward one of strength. Each time you acknowledge your pain and choose to heal, you grow more resilient and wise. Ultimately, using pain as proof of healing transforms your experience of suffering. It shifts pain from a place of despair to a marker of progress. This mindset invites you to face challenges with courage and faith in your ability to recover and thrive. Keep this truth close. Pain is not the end, but a beginning. It is the doorway through which healing enters your life. Embrace it, learn from it, and trust that each painful moment carries the seed of renewal. Your journey through pain is a testament to your strength and capacity for growth. It shows that healing is not distant, but already unfolding within you. This realization empowers you to move forward with hope and determination, knowing that each step brings you closer to wholeness. Chapter 17. Shift your focus to where you want to go. Shifting your focus to where you want to go is one of the most transformative choices you can make in life. The direction of your attention shapes your thoughts, feelings, and actions. When your focus is stuck on problems, fears, or what's gone wrong, it drains your energy and keeps you trapped in the past. Redirecting your attention toward your goals, values, and possibilities opens up space for growth and progress. This shift is both a mindset and a daily practice that moves you from reaction to intentional creation. The mind naturally gravitates toward what it knows, often worries, doubts, or regrets. This habit is understandable because the brain prioritizes perceived threats to keep you safe. However, dwelling on obstacles or setbacks creates a loop that hinders movement forward. Recognizing this tendency is the first step in changing your focus. Awareness gives you the power to consciously choose where to place your attention. Shifting focus requires clarity about what you truly want. When your destination is vague or undefined, it's easy to get distracted or discouraged. Take time to define your goals with precision. Consider what success looks like in your personal growth, relationships, career, or health. Clear goals act as a compass that guides your daily choices and energy. They provide motivation and a sense of purpose. Visualizing your desired future strengthens this focus. Imagine yourself already living the life you want. See the details, the sights, sounds, feelings associated with that reality. Visualization engages your brain and body as if the goal is real, preparing you to take aligned actions. It builds belief in your ability to achieve what you desire. Breaking your larger goals into smaller, actionable steps makes the journey manageable. Focus on the immediate next step instead of the entire path at once. This approach prevents overwhelm and keeps your attention anchored in the present moment. Completing small tasks builds confidence and momentum, reinforcing your commitment to the bigger vision. Daily habits play a crucial role in maintaining your focus. Design routines that consistently direct your attention toward growth. This might include journaling about your goals, reading inspiring material, or practicing mindfulness. These habits remind your mind of what matters and reduce distractions that pull you away from your path. It's essential to limit exposure to negative influences that derail your focus. Constantly consuming bad news, gossip, or pessimistic conversations drains mental energy and shifts attention to fear and doubt. Curate your environment to include uplifting and empowering inputs that support your vision. This creates a mental ecosystem conducive to progress. When distractions or setbacks occur, gently bring your focus back to where you want to go. It's normal for the mind to wander, but persistent redirection strengthens your ability to stay on track. Consider these moments opportunities to build discipline and deepen your connection to your goals. Emotional awareness supports focus shifting. Notice how certain thoughts or situations make you feel stuck or frustrated. Acknowledge those feelings without judgment and choose to reframe your perspective. For example, instead of thinking "I can't do this," try "This is challenging, but I am learning." Reframing nurtures a positive mindset that attracts solutions rather than problems. Accountability enhances your ability to maintain focus. Share your goals and progress with trusted friends, mentors, or coaches. Regular check-ins create external motivation and encourage you to take consistent action. Knowing others are invested in your journey increases your commitment. Celebrate progress regularly to reinforce your focus. Acknowledge even small wins and milestones. This positive feedback loop boosts your confidence and keeps your energy aligned with your goals. Recognition prevents burnout and nurtures enthusiasm for the ongoing process. Flexibility is necessary when shifting focus. Life is unpredictable and rigid plans can create frustration. Adapt your goals or methods as needed without losing sight of your overall direction. This balance between commitment and adaptability fosters resilience and sustained progress. Mindfulness meditation cultivates present moment awareness, which improves your ability to control attention. Regular practice helps you notice when your mind drifts to distractions and gently return to your focus point. This skill strengthens your mental clarity and reduces stress, creating an optimal state for growth. Setting clear priorities each day helps maintain focus on what truly matters. Identify the tasks or actions that most directly support your goals and concentrate on completing those first. This prioritization ensures your energy is spent wisely rather than scattered across less important activities. Avoid multitasking because it divides your attention and decreases effectiveness. Focus on one task at a time with full presence. Deep work produces higher quality results and quicker progress. Train yourself to engage fully and avoid switching between unrelated tasks. Use affirmations to reinforce your focus and belief in your vision. Statements like "I am moving closer to my goals every day," or "I have the power to create the life I want," encourage a positive mental environment. Repeating affirmations regularly programs your subconscious to support your conscious intentions. Remember that shifting focus is a skill developed over time through consistent practice. It is natural to face setbacks or moments of distraction. What matters most is your willingness to return to your chosen direction with patience and kindness toward yourself. Focus shapes reality. Where you place your attention grows stronger in your life. Choosing to focus on your goals rather than obstacles turns possibilities into achievements. This choice empowers you to become the architect of your future rather than a passenger stuck in circumstance. Your energy follows your focus. Concentrating on what you want energizes you and fuels creativity. Conversely, dwelling on worries drains vitality and clouds judgment. Protect your energy by training your mind to seek solutions and opportunities. Engaging your senses in your vision strengthens focus. Imagine the sounds, smells, tastes, and textures associated with your desired outcome. This sensory detail makes your goals more vivid and compelling, increasing motivation and commitment. Surround yourself with reminders of your goals, vision boards, notes, or meaningful objects. These cues prompt your brain to stay connected to your focus throughout the day. Visual triggers anchor your intentions and reduce mental drift. Seek inspiration from stories of others who shifted their focus and transformed their lives. Their experiences demonstrate that change is possible and encourage perseverance. Learning from role models fuels your belief in your own potential. Limit time spent on activities that don't align with your goals. Social media, idle entertainment, or gossip often distract from meaningful progress. Allocate time consciously and create boundaries to protect your focus. Practice gratitude for the progress you've made and the resources you have. Gratitude shifts your mindset from scarcity to abundance, making it easier to focus on positive growth. Appreciating what is helps attract more good into your life. Commit to daily reflection on your focus. Ask yourself what supported or hindered your attention and adjust accordingly. Reflection sharpens awareness and improves your ability to stay aligned with your goals. Shifting your focus is an act of empowerment. It moves you from being a victim of circumstances to an active creator of your reality. This shift creates a foundation for lasting change and fulfillment. Embrace the power of focus to create the life you desire. Your attention is one of your greatest assets. Guard it wisely, direct it intentionally, and watch your dreams unfold step by step. Every moment you choose to focus on where you want to go, you plant a seed for growth. Nurture that seed with persistence and belief. Over time, it will grow into the life you imagine and deserve. Chapter 18. Train your mind to stop overthinking everything. Overthinking is a silent thief that steals your peace, energy, and clarity. It traps you in endless loops of worry and indecision, making simple choices feel overwhelming and progress seem impossible. Training your mind to stop overthinking everything is a crucial skill that frees you to live with greater calm, focus, and confidence. This transformation requires patience, practice, and a commitment to shifting your mental habits from chaos to clarity. The first step to overcoming overthinking is recognizing when it happens. Often, overthinking begins as a subtle pattern, a few repeated thoughts that spiral into complex webs of doubt and fear. These thoughts replay scenarios, imagine worst-case outcomes, or question every decision. Awareness creates a pause that interrupts this mental noise. When you catch yourself overthinking, you gain the power to choose a different response. Understanding the cost of overthinking helps fuel your motivation to change. Excessive rumination drains your mental energy and reduces your ability to concentrate on what matters. It creates anxiety and stress that impact your physical health and relationships. Overthinking also delays action, causing missed opportunities and frustration. When you see how overthinking limits your life, you become more willing to break free. Training your mind to stop overthinking involves learning to focus on what you can control. Many overthought scenarios revolve around things outside your influence, other people's opinions, uncertain futures, or past mistakes. Shifting attention to your own thoughts, feelings, and actions grounds you in reality. This shift reduces the power of endless what-ifs and redirects your energy towards solutions and progress. Mindfulness is one of the most effective tools for managing overthinking. It teaches you to observe your thoughts without judgment and to anchor your attention in the present moment. Regular mindfulness practice strengthens your ability to notice when your mind drifts into overthinking and gently bring it back. This skill creates mental space and peace, allowing you to respond thoughtfully instead of reacting impulsively to your worries. Setting time limits for thinking about a problem is a practical strategy. Give yourself a specific window to analyze, plan, or make decisions. When the time is up, commit to moving forward regardless of lingering doubts. This practice prevents endless mental loops and builds confidence in your ability to handle uncertainty. Simplifying decisions reduces the tendency to overthink. Break down choices into smaller, manageable parts and focus on the most important factors. Avoid seeking excessive information or opinions that complicate the process. Trust your intuition and accept that perfect decisions rarely exist. Acting decisively breaks the cycle of hesitation and builds momentum. Physical activity helps clear mental clutter by releasing tension and increasing blood flow to the brain. Exercise also stimulates the production of endorphins, improving mood and reducing anxiety. Incorporating movement into your routine creates a healthy outlet for stress and calms racing thoughts. Journaling provides a constructive way to release overwhelming thoughts. Writing down your worries and concerns externalizes them, making them easier to analyze and organize. Journaling also reveals patterns in your thinking that contribute to overthinking, enabling you to address root causes. This practice transforms chaotic thoughts into clear action plans. Learning to accept uncertainty is key to stopping overthinking. Life is unpredictable, and trying to control every outcome creates mental strain. Embracing uncertainty allows you to move forward with trust in your resilience and adaptability. This mindset reduces the need for excessive analysis and opens space for creativity and growth. Developing self-compassion softens the harsh inner critic that fuels overthinking. Negative self-talk magnifies doubts and fears, trapping you in mental loops. Treat yourself with kindness and understanding, as you would a friend. Compassion creates emotional safety, making it easier to release worry and focus on constructive actions. Establishing routines provides structure that limits opportunities for overthinking. Consistent daily habits reduce decision fatigue and create predictability. When parts of your day become automatic, your mind frees up space for purposeful thinking rather than anxious rumination. Distraction can be a useful tool when overthinking becomes overwhelming. Engaging in activities that absorb your attention, such as creative hobbies, reading or socializing, interrupts mental loops and refreshes your focus. Balance is important, however, to avoid using distraction as avoidance. Seeking perspective from trusted others helps break the cycle of overthinking. Sharing your concerns can clarify your thoughts and provide reassurance. Sometimes, simply verbalizing worries reduces their intensity and reveals solutions you hadn't considered. Challenging your thoughts with evidence helps dismantle irrational fears. When you notice catastrophic predictions or self-doubt, ask yourself if these beliefs are based on facts or assumptions. This critical evaluation weakens overthinking's grip and encourages realistic thinking. Sleep quality impacts your ability to manage overthinking. Lack of rest amplifies anxiety and impairs cognitive function. Prioritize restful sleep through consistent schedules and calming pre-bedtime routines. A refreshed mind is better equipped to handle stress without spiraling into overthinking. Gradually exposing yourself to uncertainty and discomfort builds mental toughness. Purposefully facing situations that trigger overthinking teaches you that you can handle discomfort without avoidance. This exposure reduces fear and strengthens your ability to stay present. Celebrating small victories over overthinking reinforces positive change. Acknowledge moments when you choose action over hesitation or release worry to focus on the present. These successes build confidence and encourage continued practice. Recognize that stopping overthinking is a process, not an instant fix. Progress may be slow and non-linear, but persistence is key. Each time you notice and redirect your thoughts, you strengthen new mental pathways that support calm and clarity. Ultimately, training your mind to stop overthinking everything frees you to live more fully and effectively. It clears the path for decisive action, creative problem solving, and emotional peace. This mental discipline empowers you to respond to life's challenges with confidence and resilience. Commit to practicing these strategies daily. Over time, your mind will shift from overwhelming noise to focused clarity. You will gain greater control over your thoughts and emotions, creating space for growth, joy, and success. Begin by noticing one area where overthinking disrupts your life, and apply a simple technique like mindfulness or journaling. Each step forward is progress. With dedication, you will train your mind to serve you rather than control you, unlocking your true potential. Chapter 19. Practice self-respect through boundaries and discipline. Self-respect is the foundation of a fulfilling and empowered life. It shapes how you treat yourself and how others treat you. Practicing self-respect through boundaries and discipline is essential for maintaining your integrity and well-being. Boundaries protect your energy and values, while discipline builds the habits that support your goals. Together they create a powerful framework that enables you to live authentically and confidently. Setting boundaries is an act of honoring your needs and limits. It involves clearly defining what you will accept from others and what you will not. Boundaries can be physical, emotional, mental, or time-related. They communicate to the world that your feelings, values, and space matter. Without boundaries, it becomes easy to feel overwhelmed, disrespected, or taken advantage of. Many people hesitate to set boundaries because they fear rejection or conflict. This fear often stems from a lack of self-respect or a mistaken belief that pleasing others is more important than honoring oneself. However, true respect from others arises when you demonstrate respect for yourself. Boundaries are a way of saying that you value your well-being and expect others to do the same. Discipline complements boundaries by establishing consistency in how you treat yourself daily. It means committing to actions that align with your values and goals, even when motivation wanes. Discipline builds trust between you and yourself. It shows that you are reliable and capable of following through on promises you make to your own growth and happiness. Developing discipline requires clear priorities and realistic expectations. It's about making deliberate choices that support your physical health, emotional balance, and personal progress. This could include maintaining a healthy routine, managing your time effectively, or cultivating positive habits. Each act of discipline reinforces your self-respect and builds momentum toward your vision. Boundaries also protect your mental and emotional space from toxic influences. Saying no to negativity, manipulation, or unnecessary stress preserves your peace. This protection allows you to focus on what truly matters and nurtures your sense of security. Establishing boundaries with difficult people or situations can be challenging but ultimately liberating. Being disciplined with boundaries means enforcing them consistently. It's not enough to state your limits. You must stand firm when they are tested. This may involve difficult conversations or decisions, but it strengthens your self-worth and signals to others that you are serious about your well-being. Consistency in boundaries creates predictability and respect in relationships. Self-respect through discipline also means caring for your body and mind. Nourishing yourself with healthy food, rest, and movement honors your physical temple. Engaging in practices like meditation, journaling, or therapy supports your mental clarity and emotional health. These disciplined habits enhance your resilience and ability to navigate life's challenges. Avoiding self-destructive behaviors is another expression of self-respect. This includes resisting unhealthy coping mechanisms such as excessive drinking, procrastination, or negative self-talk. Discipline in these areas helps you break harmful cycles and fosters a more loving relationship with yourself. Practicing self-respect requires self-awareness. Regular reflection on your feelings, needs, and behaviors helps you recognize when boundaries are being crossed or discipline is slipping. Journaling or quiet contemplation can provide insights into areas that need strengthening. Awareness enables timely adjustments and prevents burnout or resentment. Communicating your boundaries clearly and respectfully is vital. Use assertive language that expresses your needs without aggression or apology. For example, saying, "I need time to recharge and won't be available this evening," is clear and respectful. Effective communication reduces misunderstandings and increases the likelihood that your boundaries will be honored. Discipline in communication means choosing your words thoughtfully and listening actively. It fosters mutual respect and understanding. Practicing empathy while maintaining your limits creates healthier interactions and deepens connections. Self-respect through boundaries and discipline also involves managing your commitments wisely. Overcommitting leads to exhaustion and reduces your ability to honor your priorities. Learning to say no to requests that don't align with your values protects your time and energy. This discipline empowers you to invest fully in what matters most. Celebrating your successes in maintaining boundaries and discipline reinforces positive change. Acknowledge moments when you stood up for yourself or completed a difficult task. These celebrations build confidence and motivate continued growth. Remember that self-respect is a lifelong journey. It requires ongoing attention and adjustment as your needs and circumstances evolve. Be patient with yourself and recognize progress, not perfection. Each choice to respect yourself strengthens your foundation for a meaningful life. Boundaries and discipline also teach others how to treat you. They create clear expectations that foster respect and trust. When you demonstrate self-respect, relationships become more balanced and fulfilling. Others feel safe to express their own boundaries and practice discipline as well. Practicing self-respect reduces stress and anxiety by creating order and predictability. Knowing your limits and sticking to them provides a sense of control and stability. Discipline creates routines that support emotional regulation and physical health. Your environment influences your ability to maintain boundaries and discipline. Surround yourself with people who respect your limits and encourage your growth. Minimize exposure to those who consistently violate your boundaries or discourage your progress. A supportive environment reinforces your efforts and sustains your self-respect. Developing self-respect also enhances decision-making. When you value yourself, you make choices that align with your highest good, rather than seeking external approval. This clarity reduces confusion and second-guessing. Practicing self-respect through boundaries and discipline increases your self-esteem. It nurtures a positive self-image and belief in your worth. This inner strength empowers you to face challenges with confidence and grace. In moments of temptation to abandon your boundaries or discipline, remind yourself why you started. Reflect on the benefits you've experienced and the person you are becoming. Reconnecting with your purpose renews motivation and commitment. Balance is essential. While discipline and boundaries are vital, rigidness can lead to isolation or burnout. Allow flexibility when appropriate without compromising your core values. This balance fosters sustainable self-respect and joyful living. Incorporate regular self-care rituals that honor your physical and emotional needs. These rituals are expressions of discipline and reinforce boundaries with yourself. Whether it's taking a walk, enjoying a hobby, or resting, these practices recharge your energy and deepen self-respect. Recognize that self-respect is reflected in your thoughts as well as your actions. Practice positive self-talk and challenge limiting beliefs. The way you think about yourself influences how you enforce boundaries and maintain discipline. Accountability supports your journey. Partner with a trusted friend, coach, or mentor who encourages your self-respect practices. Sharing goals and challenges creates support and reinforces commitment. Ultimately, practicing self-respect through boundaries and discipline liberates you from external pressures and internal chaos. It centers you in your values and aspirations. This foundation allows you to live with authenticity, clarity, and strength. Every time you choose to uphold your boundaries or act with discipline, you reinforce your self-respect. This ongoing commitment shapes your identity and creates a life rooted in dignity and purpose. Through self-respect, you become the architect of your own well-being and happiness. Chapter 20. Rise each day with a new reason to fight. Every morning brings a fresh start and a new opportunity to fight for the life you want. Waking up with a clear purpose fuels motivation and shapes your daily experience. Each day presents challenges, but it also offers chances to grow stronger, wiser, and more resilient. To rise each day with a new reason to fight means committing yourself to a journey of continuous improvement and meaning. Finding a reason to fight starts with identifying what matters most to you. This reason could be a goal, a value, a relationship, or a dream you refuse to give up on. When your purpose is clear, it provides a guiding light through difficult moments and keeps you focused on the bigger picture. Knowing why you fight creates resilience against setbacks and distractions. The process of rising daily with intention requires mental discipline. It's easy to get caught in routines that drain energy and dampen enthusiasm. Breaking free from autopilot means setting an intention each morning, consciously deciding what you will strive for. This habit energizes your mind and sets the tone for your actions throughout the day. Building a morning routine that supports your fight strengthens your mindset. Practices like meditation, journaling, or reading inspiring material prepare your mind for challenges. Physical movement awakens your body and increases vitality. These routines create a foundation of readiness that empowers you to face obstacles with strength. The fight you choose each day does not have to be monumental. Sometimes it's simply choosing kindness over frustration, persistence over giving up, or focus over distraction. These small daily battles accumulate into meaningful progress. Celebrating these victories reinforces your resolve and builds confidence. Facing fear is often part of your daily fight. Fear can appear as self-doubt, hesitation, or avoidance. Choosing to rise means acknowledging fear without letting it control your actions. Courage is not the absence of fear, but the decision to act despite it. This courage grows stronger each time you show up for yourself. Remember that progress is not always visible or immediate. Some fights are internal and happen in moments of quiet struggle or reflection. Trust the process and honor the unseen effort. Consistent commitment, even in small ways, leads to transformation over time. Your reasons to fight will evolve as you grow. What drives you today may shift with new experiences and insights. Stay open to this evolution and allow your purpose to expand. Adapting your reason keeps your fight relevant and energizing. Connection to others often fuels your motivation. Loved ones, mentors, or communities provide encouragement and accountability. Sharing your journey with others creates a network of support that makes the fight more sustainable. Relationships deepen your reasons to rise and strengthen your commitment. When setbacks occur, remember they are part of the journey, not the end. Each challenge holds lessons and opportunities for growth. Facing difficulties head-on builds resilience and shapes character. Your fight becomes more meaningful because of the obstacles you overcome. Gratitude enhances your daily reason to fight. Appreciating what you have and the progress made cultivates a positive mindset. Gratitude shifts focus from lack to abundance, increasing motivation and joy in the process. This attitude sustains your energy and reduces burnout. Visualizing success before starting your day aligns your actions with your goals. Picture yourself overcoming challenges and achieving your dreams. This mental rehearsal prepares your brain to recognize opportunities and solutions. Visualization reinforces belief in your ability to fight and win. Self-care is essential to maintain your strength for the fight. Physical rest, healthy nutrition, and emotional balance replenish your resources. Ignoring self-care leads to exhaustion and weakens your resolve. Prioritize your well-being as a strategic part of your daily effort. Discipline supports your ability to rise and fight consistently. Commit to habits that align with your purpose and avoid distractions that sap energy. Discipline creates momentum and reduces the mental load of decision-making. Over time, discipline turns effort into automatic progress. Reflection at the end of each day helps you evaluate your fight. Acknowledge successes, learn from challenges, and adjust your approach. This practice fosters growth and keeps your purpose clear. Reflection transforms experiences into wisdom and strengthens your resolve. Maintaining flexibility prevents discouragement when plans don't go as expected. Adapt your strategies while keeping your core reason to fight intact. Flexibility nurtures resilience and creativity in overcoming obstacles. Avoid comparing your fight to others. Your journey is unique and shaped by your values and circumstances. Focus on your progress and celebrate your individual victories. Comparison diminishes motivation and distracts from your purpose. Embrace patience in your daily fight. Growth and change take time. Trust in your process and keep moving forward. Patience reduces frustration and supports sustainable success. Learning from failures enriches your fight with valuable insight. Mistakes are not defeats, but stepping stones to mastery. Analyze what went wrong, adjust your actions, and persist with renewed wisdom. Celebrate your identity as a fighter. Recognize your strength and determination. This self-recognition fuels confidence and inspires continued effort. Own your journey with pride and commitment. Surround yourself with reminders of your reason to fight. Visual cues, affirmations, or meaningful objects keep your purpose vivid. These anchors provide motivation during difficult moments. Prioritize tasks that directly contribute to your fight. Focus your energy on what moves you closer to your goals. This prioritization increases efficiency and reduces overwhelm. Seek inspiration regularly. Books, stories, or mentors who embody perseverance recharge your spirit. Inspiration reminds you that others have faced similar battles and succeeded. Be kind to yourself in moments of struggle. Compassion nurtures resilience and prevents burnout. Treat yourself as you would a friend who is fighting hard. Every morning you rise with a new reason to fight. You rewrite your story. You choose action over passivity and hope over despair. This choice empowers you to create a life of meaning and fulfillment. Your fight is a testament to your strength and commitment to growth. It shapes your character and destiny. Rise each day with intention and courage, knowing that every effort counts. The power to transform your life lies in your hands. Use each new day as a fresh battlefield to claim your victories. Embrace the fight with passion and resolve, knowing that perseverance leads to triumph. As you continue this daily practice, you become unstoppable. Challenges become opportunities. Setbacks fuel determination, and your reasons to fight multiply. This relentless spirit propels you toward your highest potential and deepest fulfillment. Rise with gratitude, purpose, and fierce determination. The world awaits the unique contribution only you can make. Your fight is meaningful, necessary, and powerful. Stand tall and step forward with confidence every day.